The restaurant was warm that evening, filled with the low hum of laughter and the clinking of glasses. At a small corner table, a man named Evan sat nervously adjusting the cuffs of his worn shirt. He wasn't the type to go on blind dates, especially not since his wife passed 3 years ago. Raising his 7-year-old daughter alone had consumed every part of him. But tonight his co-workers had insisted. "Come on, man. You deserve a night out," they'd said, hiding their mischievous smiles. He didn't know it was a setup. They thought it would be funny. They'd arranged for him to meet Maya, a quiet woman from another department, sweet but painfully shy and overweight, the kind of woman people cruelly whispered about. It was supposed to be a joke, a laugh, something they could talk about the next morning over coffee. But when Maya walked in, nervously smoothing her floral dress, her eyes darting to the floor, Evan stood up, and the laughter from the bar table behind him died in an instant. "Huh," she said softly, voice trembling. "You must be Evan." He smiled. "Yes. And you must be the reason this place just got brighter." For a moment, she froze, unsure if he was mocking her. But his tone was genuine, steady, warm. He pulled out her chair and sat across from her, his hands steady though his heart was not. As they talked, she slowly began to breathe easier. Maya told him about her job in accounting, her love for painting, and how she used to dream of teaching art to children. He listened, not out of politeness, but because her words painted color into his gray world. Meanwhile, from across the room, his co-workers were watching, waiting for him to react with disgust or embarrassment. Instead, he was leaning in, asking about her favorite places, laughing softly at her jokes. And then, something happened. As she described her love for sunsets, she paused, biting her lip. "People don't usually stay this long when they see me," she whispered. Evan frowned. "Why wouldn't they?" She looked down. "Because I'm not what most people want to be seen with." The weight of her words hit him like a storm. Evan took a deep breath and said quietly, "You know, after my wife passed, I promised myself I'd teach my daughter something important, that beauty isn't a face or a size. It's kindness. It's courage. And right now, sitting across from you, I see both." From the nearby table, the co-workers who'd planned the cruel prank exchanged uneasy glances. The laughter they'd expected never came. Only silence, and something heavier. Maya's eyes filled with tears. "You're the first person who's ever said that to me." Evan smiled softly. "Then maybe the world's overdue for saying it." They talked until closing time. When the waiter dimmed the lights, Evan walked her outside. The night air was cool, carrying the faint scent of rain. He turned to her and said, "Can I walk you to your car?" She hesitated, then nodded. They walked side by side, not as strangers from a setup, but as two people who'd found a flicker of light in the unlikeliest of places. The next morning, when his co-workers tried to joke about it, Evan didn't laugh. He simply said, "You should be ashamed. That woman you tried to humiliate. She's kinder than any of you." The room went silent. One of them, Tom, the one who had planned it, looked down, shame burning on his face. "You're right," he muttered. "We went too far." Ivan nodded. "Kindness isn't a weakness. It's strength. Maybe try it sometime." That evening, Maya received a small note at her office desk. It read, "Dinner again this weekend. This time, no setups. Just us." She smiled through tears. For the first time in years, someone saw her, not as a punchline, but as a person. And for Evan, it wasn't pity, it was peace. Because in showing her kindness, he found a part of himself that grief had buried. Sometimes life sets you up for a cruel laugh, but kindness turns it into something beautiful. This story reminds us that kindness still matters, that even in a world quick to judge, compassion has the power to change hearts, to turn shame into grace and loneliness into love.